Hello, everybody. Welcome to the You're Too Valuable podcast. I'm one of your hosts here, Gregory. I also have another one of our co-hosts here. Go ahead.
Hey everybody, it's Jesse Pearson. Glad to be back with you guys. We have another great episode today. Can't wait to get into it with you.
Are you really great to be back? Happy to be back?
Of course, I love doing this. Trust
I
me,
do
this
too.
is
Actually, I
therapy
really
to
do. I really
me.
love doing it. It has become
I need this.
yeah, it has become kind of like therapy. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what you were kind of getting at. It's become sort of like therapy on the fact that if I can actually say something and talk to somebody and tell them what I feel, and hopefully you
Right.
listen. If you don't listen, then you never know. But today, we're going to be talking about some really interesting things on whether, if given the opportunity or choice, would you rather be fired or would you rather be laid off? And or what the differences are, and so that way you can make an educated decision. So let's also get to the kind of elephant in the room that once again there's only two of us here. We are missing our other special guest host or regular host. Almost seems like a special guest host this time. But Robbie's not here. He is still recovering from surgery. I do have some good news. He is mending. He is getting better. So we are very hopeful he will be back very soon. And Jesse, I miss him. Do you miss him?
Of course, the banter that he brings, especially, I've been saying that these last couple episodes. That's like I'm in the war room alone by myself with HR. Like I said the
No.
last episode, I don't like being in the room by myself with HR.
That's because HR can come after you. And so
Wow.
I mean HR is your friend.
Wow.
But yeah, anyway, so let's get into the topic today. Today maybe a little bit of shorter episode because I just want to kind of get to it as this is very important for me, and it probably has affected or effected. I can never get that right word. What is it? Cause and
Affected.
affected. Cause whatever. One of those two. That it it kind of affects us all. Yeah, effects. There you go. It affects us all. I have a pen in my hand. I'm going to put that down because if not, I'm going to keep using it. It affects us all in one way or another. That we've all been laid off, and more than likely, we've all been fired.
Or know
Whether or not,
someone. You may not have, but definitely
well,
know
yes,
someone at
we
least.
and you know somebody that is so, or that has been, and it's kind of interesting. We all have that question in an interview of, were you ever laid off or fired from a job? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the
Or on the
case? And who knows if we
application
are?
itself. Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Or right on the application itself. Have you ever been fired from a job?
Right. And how many people, let's see, everybody raise their hand. How many people have always been honest on that question and answered yes to that question? Anyone? Anyone?
No.
Oh, wow. We actually had one person put their hand up. I don't know if that's true or not, but, we're going to take their word for
No.
it. But yeah, the thing is that there is a huge difference between being laid off or being terminated. And the one thing that we have to know is sometimes you're given that choice. Would you rather resign, quit, laid off, or you're fired?
Right.
And there is a huge difference between the three of those. Today we're going to talk about being fired or being laid off. Which one is the difference? And so it's a lot of things that happen not really towards the beginning of the situation. It's more towards what happens afterwards. And so, Jesse, have you ever been uh, laid off? I'll put it to you that way. Have you ever been laid off?
I have been through separation of employment in the
Oh, a separation,
past.
huh? Uh huh. Yeah. Different way of saying
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay, okay.
That's the technical term,
I
separation
want.
of employment, and being in Colorado and also being from Montana of at will states.
Oh,
So
oh
it is
no, I'm not going to get
an
into the at will thing.
understanding of an agreement between the employer employee that you can work as long as you want to work and you cannot work there as long as you don't want to not work there, and vice versa as
Now,
an employee
who is being
employer.
all HRE and trying to use the proper term? That's normally me.
You
But
betcha.
anyways,
You betcha. You know our
uh,
friend group and my nickname of Technical Timothy. Come on
oh
now.
boy, here we go. But no, what I can say is that if you're fired, it generally means for cause. If you're laid off, it means there's a business reason, normally a business reason behind it. And I would say about
Hmm.
99% of the reason why there should be a business reason behind it. And,
Hmm.
but there is a difference between fired and laid off. And those two words, it changes everything. And
Hmm.
then also you have your terminations, there's separation, um, because it's something you did that was wrong, that you
Sure.
did or didn't do. And then
Sure.
layoffs are not really supposed to be personal. They're just supposed to be there to, do a reduction in force or RIF. And that just happens. And it happens to just about every company at one time or another.
Right.
Um, Now, from an HR point of view, and Jesse, I know you're going to sit there a lot, and I'm going to talk a lot because of uh, the way that this kind of works out for us is this is very technical, and I'm going to ask your opinion.
Right.
So please bear with me a little bit.
That's okay.
Um,
You
we
know
do
you love
code.
getting into this. So
I do. This is like
this is
the deep the deep
this
down
is
dirty
your
stuff of
segment.
HR. Yeah.
Enjoy this segment because I know you love this.
Oh no, I've got a story a little bit later on that I want to talk about because I just the way. Okay, I'm just gonna say it now. The way that my friends, I don't know if this certain individual is on this podcast today or not. If you're looking at the video, I'm shaking my head. Yes, they are, or
Who?
he is. Um,
Hmm.
of always using the air quotes, laid off. Oh, you were laid off again. Okay, like it's
Right.
always my choice. Anyway, so I'll get more into that story later because I really want to talk about that because that's a big thing. But we in HR, it is coded completely different. It's listed differently. It shows up differently in our systems. We have to put on the reason why if there was a layoff or a termination, and that has to go in there. Never
Hmm.
mind. We don't always have to put a reason. Don't say I said that. That actually may come back to haunt me a little bit.
Well, be fortunate you work at a company that has such system.
This is true. Yeah, that is very true because there are some companies that one are too
And
small.
small businesses that don't
Yeah,
use stuff like
they
that.
don't. Yeah, a lot of paper files, a lot of
Hmm.
these lovely little things here, which are called sticky notes, and those get thrown around everywhere, and it's kind of interesting because you go in there and you see them everywhere.
Right.
Um, but nobody really explains to you the difference between the two. Have you ever been explained the two, other than probably when we were having like kind of a
Hmm.
pre-discussion about what this whole topic was about?
No, yep, I have, and we learned some of this. I think in college and just business classes as well, and then just through my experience working for corporations, have
Yeah.
experienced that as well.
So, do you think that you were adequately given that information so that way you could make a judgment call based on which one happened?
Um, Eventually, but at first, it was definitely assumed in certain when I first entered working for more corporate organizations, it was just assumed that I knew which button to press and what to pick.
Yeah. Okay. So you're talking more on like the manager side.
Mm-hmm.
What about as an employee or a team member? Do you
Sure.
feel that were
Yeah.
ever given that information before coming into management?
Oh no, definitely not. Rarely is that those kind of terms passed along until you're sitting there facing the reality of what those terms mean. And even then, when those terms are being told to you and given, they're not defined at at separation as well, which is very frustrating.
Right. And that's completely true. But the one simple fact of out of all of these words that we've used here today is you're without a job. That's number one.
Yep.
And so when you're
Yep.
without a job, that's all that matters to you. You have no income coming in. You got to see if you can apply or qualify for unemployment. Look for another job, which is always a full time job. But the
Yep.
biggest thing is that you're without at that
Yep.
moment,
Yep. It's
and
terrifying.
yeah, it's very terrifying, and it's something that people don't explain to you at all. And that's something that
Mm-hmm.
you need to kind of understand. And hopefully that's what, our listeners can get out there, or our viewers out there can take from this conversation. The other
Mm-hmm.
one that I'd like to point out is the big part of what people call at will
Mm.
and what that actually means. There is
Sure.
this fantastic YouTuber, not YouTuber, sorry, TikToker that's out there. I would love to get a hold of him. He's an employment attorney, and I love the fact that he has lots and lots of videos out there on TikTok that talks about at will. And what I like the
Okay.
fact of is that he states that at will is something that they can terminate you for legal reasons. And I love
Right.
the way that he states that. And it's for legal reasons. And
Mm-hmm.
as an employment attorney, he has stated this is not from me, that it's his job to find out that the company did terminate you for a legal reason and whether or
Exactly.
not that is
Or
true
an
or not.
illegal reason.
Oh, yeah. But also, yes, for the illegal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that happens too. And
A lot.
I can
And they
say that
pass.
it could be kind of twofold when it comes to legal or illegal reasons. Is one, the company may not know, and that's kind of sad because they
Mm-hmm.
may not have had the best HR person they've ever had, or me working for them. So that means that they don't know, and they don't have somebody as perfect as I am that gives them the best information that they need to make um, the best decision possible. And so I think that's one of the things that kind of hurts, especially like you were talking about earlier, Jesse, of the smaller business.
I love when
Even
your
in
voice switches. When we
what was
can
that?
really, I love when your voice switches to that just wonderful HR tone of speaking down from the terrace of your White Castle. I
Oh,
just
why do we always have to
love when
bring that up?
I
No.
just love hearing the switch. It's just great.
Does my voice really change? If anybody's out
Yes.
there and you can see the change or hear the change, please let me know. I know that I do have an HR voice. Every HR person has to have an HR
I
voice,
love it.
and it almost I feel and please tell me that it becomes almost monotone or you can't really have
Not
feeling in it.
monotone, more of like a hierarchy
Oh,
tone.
it's like I'm better than you or something. Oh boy. Okay, I need to learn that. So I need to take it. Let me use one of my little or sorry, sticky notes. Can't say the real word here. My sticky notes here and kind of
And
listen to something.
let me tell you the HR way.
Let me tell you. I don't know if I have ever used the actual term HR way.
Oh no, just putting in your voice.
Oh,
You
oh,
know,
okay. So it's just
comes
in.
across in
Okay,
your
okay.
voice.
Well, we're gonna kindly move past that and kind of floor that for now, and
Anyways,
we are never gonna come back to it. So the one thing I want to talk about is kind of
perfect.
like the stigma or the stigma tax that comes along with separations period, whether it be a
Yes.
layoff or whether it be a termination. And what is that one question that you always ask me whenever I got laid off, or that somebody asks you when you get laid off or terminated? What do they ask you?
Why?
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 Or
What'd you
what did you
do?
do? And
What did
I
they
know I've heard.
say? What reason did they give?
Yep, those are my
Did you have
questions. I
any
would.
write-ups?
Oh yeah. So those are mine. I do my investigation just to make sure because you know me, I'm HR. I gotta know anything. And so that's one of the biggest questions is what did you do? And
Mhm.
sometimes you kind of put your head down and kind of stumble along and just try to discuss what happened, what didn't happen, what you thought happened. And the
And
thing
sometimes
is
it's a
that
total mystery.
right, most of the time you don't know. You really don't.
And I've
And you
been
probably never
separated,
will.
and yeah, and never have known, never will know, and don't care to know
Nope.
because I've moved past it.
And that's great advice, Jesse. And I go ahead and answer that now. How do
Right,
you get past it? What do you keep
right.
telling yourself? What do you remind yourself?
And the worst thing that you could do, and I've done this, is to sit in it for the next 6 months. And it comes better. Unemployment can be a crutch. Sometimes it's a saving grace. Uh, when you do get that after you've been separated, to help pay with bills, but it can also become a crutch and well, I'm good right now. Don't have to work. Money's still coming in. And for me, it has become a crutch to where I'm not actively looking for any next jobs because I don't want to. I just got uh devastating news that upturned my life, and I have resentments building against those people now, and questions swimming around my head that will never be answered. And I can stay in it and stick in the mud and the crud, or I can pick myself up, myself up, and just keep on stepping.
And that's the difficult part. It's almost just like what would you say, like a bad breakup
Yeah,
that you
it
would go
is.
through on not knowing what a bad breakup is about, right?
Our
And
workplaces are a very integral part of our life where we spend a significant amount of time and energy
so true,
in.
so true. And yeah, it's where you spend, I mean, what, 8 to 10 hours, if that, quote
Or
unquote
more.
little amount, right, that you
That
spend in an
that's
office
just
or with these people.
for me. That was just on property, 10 hours minimum every day on property, and then plus whatever I was doing after work and at home.
And that's and so that just makes it a little bit more. And then for some of us, and myself included, it becomes of who you are. That's almost like a an extension of your personality, of your soul, of who you are. It shows up on um who you are and what you represent. And so that
Hmm.
kind of can become personal, and you kind of can stew in that for a very long time and sit there. I mean, I can tell you, I've been laid off from a position, and I'm like, why? What did I do? And I stewed in it for probably a good couple of weeks, and I found myself crying, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with saying that. And then I kind of look back at what happened and blame myself and
Hmm.
ask what if and what if and what did I do
Right.
this. And luckily, I have great friends out there, Jesse
I was just
included,
gonna say.
of saying you're great. It wasn't not necessarily what you did. Now, if you got fired, that's a different story. But if you got laid off, it's you're a
Maybe.
great person. It just may not be what's needed at that moment.
Even if you get
And
fired, it's still just a separation. Your employer has decided that they no longer want you part of their organization, and they have found a valid reason for that. and they have to protect their organization.
Huh. That's actually a really good way of thinking about that. I don't know if I've ever thought about it that way, but very good. Very good. I like that.
But what
Uh,
you're saying about the friends and family portion of that is like, yeah, that's awesome when your friends and family surround you. But if you're one of those friends and family members that wants to continue prodding and asking questions and the what did you do and you have to know a reason, come on, just tell me. It's it's makes things worse. It makes things worse for that person when you're
yeah.
not supportive of, hey, it's gonna be okay, and especially with, in my situation where my parents have had to support me financially, God bless them because they have put any feelings or questions that they might have had aside and asked me once or maybe twice of why I thought the reason was, and if there wasn't any given, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was told, and they believed me, and then we moved past it, and we
Just
just
dropped
kept
it.
on
Yeah.
stepping as a family and took care of business.
Well, and that's almost somewhat like you're talking with your friends, your family, and you're like put in a spotlight where you have that like investigative light on you when you say that you got fired.
Mm-hmm.
What did you
Exactly.
do? What's going on? Then get that flashlight, put it in your face. What happened? Did it happen? And then layoff is like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's bad, but it's still the fact of you still don't have a job. But both of them can come across both ways. Of all right, you got laid off, get back, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got fired. What the
Mm-hmm.
heck did you do? Do better. And then also your
Right.
family can treat you differently depending on what word you use or what choice of words you use. Or your
Sure.
family can be very comforting. And that sucks
Mm-hmm.
too. And that's
Yeah.
for somebody like me, that's your chosen family and your actual real family. I'm a firm believer that you
Yeah.
have both of those.
Yep.
That you
Yep.
have your chosen family and then your birth family. So it doesn't matter which one. It really matters on how you explain it to them, what's going on, and then where do you want to go from there. And then how you want to build yourself from one way or the other. And I think that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest things that you were talking about is like your family, your friends need to be there and actually build you up, not necessarily tear you down.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
also don't what is it, beat a dead horse or beat a dead draw or what something like that. I whatever. But then you
Don't beat
also
a dead horse. Someone who's already down and hurting and everything. They don't need
yeah.
another gut punch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's the point of doing that? You're just gonna, make them further and further down in their, you know, sorrow that they have for losing a job and not having it. Maybe it was one
Yes.
of their perfect jobs that they had and absolutely loved it, and they just got laid off. Whatever. But
Yes.
it's just something like that. And then it kind of moves on to the shame portion of. I was watching Game of Thrones videos just a little bit ago, and all I can think of is ding ding shame, ding ding shame, ding ding shame, and so
Yep. You get marked. Places
yes,
a
you
mark on
do.
you, it feels like.
Yeah,
And
almost like the whole
especially when you're
Scarlet
going
Letter
to the
type of
next
thing.
employer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to the
Well,
next
yeah,
employer and
because
they have that question and it's like you don't, and in my mind, I mean, you have to think, well, maybe they just want to know to have a conversation about it. And
right.
that's why they put it on their application and they want to see you be truthful because they're able to look, or there's lots of connections in certain industries, and people know each other a lot in certain industries, and they want to see that you're being
That you're
honest and
beyond.
truthful,
Yes. Thank you. Being
especially
honest
when
and
you're.
truthful. That's what it is. And
Yeah.
I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I believe everyone in the course of over the course of their life. I can't say everyone because using totalities is not the best, but just about
Hmm.
everyone has been fired from a job. And if
But
you tell
then
me
the
no, you've never
unfortunate
been fired, That's we all have to
Right.
learn, but it's how
But
you
the
represent
but
yourself.
the unfortunate part that isn't taught to the recruiters that a lot of, especially large corporations, hires, that when they're sifting through applications, a lot of them are just seeing that and going right past you.
Yep.
And that's not right.
Nope.
That
That's
shouldn't, that mark, it should be taught as for you to look further into their experience and maybe look at their gaps or whatever. That should just be, you still should be considering this person, if they are
hmm
qualified in their experience, as a potential candidate, not just scrolling past them because they have that mark on there.
yeah. That's that whole like 5 second rule that normally comes by. You have 5 seconds to make a good impression or a bad impression, and I completely agree with that. Just
Right.
because you've been laid off or terminated from a position does not mean that you are a bad person or a bad employee. You could have
Exactly.
had mismanaged. You could have been mismanaged. You
Hmm.
could have, you
Not
know,
given the
had
tools
it
that you needed to do
right.
your job properly.
That happens quite a bit, actually.
Hmm.
And it just may be the fact of you were not in a good place yourself. We
Right.
all have those. I have
Hmm.
had places in my life, or times and periods of my life that I have not been my best.
Right.
Is that a reason that I might have gotten fired or terminated from a job? Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
so, and that's not bad. And then the other thing
That's
is
okay.
like you said, be truthful about it
Be
and make sure
truthful.
that you just explain what you learned from the situation.
Exactly.
What did you learn? Yes, I unfortunately have been separated or I have been terminated from a position is because of this reason. This is what I learned from it, and this is how I've control or continued to grow professionally. And that's just
And
something
I will
that we want to
tell
see.
you, and I will tell you, if you still have any sort of resentment towards that and you're going into interviews with it, it was not going to come out good.
Nope.
Any of it won't come out good
Oh, it'll
because you're
come. It
still
holding on to
harboring
that. Yep.
pain and hatred towards that situation, and the a good interviewer will pick up on that.
Yeah, and they have that old saying of "fake it till you make it." Sometimes that fake it is not really good faking. We're not all actors, that's for sure.
It's fake. It's fake.
Fake it. Yeah. Cheers to that. So the other thing that some people may ask is, what happens with unemployment?
Yeah.
Do you automatically get unemployment when you're laid off?
Sometimes it's up to the states. Sometimes it just depends on checking certain boxes and telling the story. But again, the honesty in there, and there's always room to explain yourself. And when you're first filing for the unemployment, and it was a separation, it was a termination, be truthful about that. I have gotten unemployment from terminations because I was truthful and I explained myself and was given the opportunity to show my side of it. And I've had an employer in the past come back to fight it
Oh
and
yeah.
say that I was causing all this stuff and different things after I had got terminated. But that doesn't matter. Yeah, I regret some things that I did after getting terminated, but fortunately, in my case, that didn't apply because they had already separated employment with me, and the case stops there. Your case
Yeah.
is done.
It
They
doesn't go any
can't
further.
use anything after to
Nope.
try to reason why you shouldn't be getting unemployment. Not to say that
Well,
you should do something or retaliate,
definitely don't.
but
Definitely don't.
I wouldn't say
But
definitely don't. But I've
no, don't.
regretted
I
things
would
that
say
I have
definitely
done.
don't. That can that more than
It
likely
can
will
be
not come out in your
detrimental.
favor.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree
But
with that.
yes, being laid off, you're more than likely going to qualify for unemployment. I cannot guarantee that. I can't say that yes, you will, because there are
Sure.
different circumstances in every state, every unemployment district, every unemployment area that has some type of qualifications that you may have to meet. And
Mm-hmm.
so maybe you haven't been there long enough. Maybe you haven't earned enough money. I don't know. It could be all kinds of different things.
Yep.
Now, if you are fired or terminated, and it's kind of interesting. I just picked this up on myself by myself. Is I like to say the word terminated. I don't like to say the word fired.
Right.
And fired
Or
just sounds
separated.
very negative. And when I'm generally talking about somebody leaving a company for no matter what, no reason, I generally use the word separation. Any
Mm-hmm.
separations from employment, blah blah blah. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
explain to you if you were laid off, you were terminated, you quit, nothing. It's just a separation. Anyways, I just thought about that.
Right.
But I'm going to go back to termination. If you're terminated, you may not qualify for unemployment again
Mm-hmm.
because being terminated for particular reasons or for cause can disqualify you from unemployment.
Yes.
And I can tell you personally, I have been denied unemployment and I had to fight it just like Jesse did. But it was also not for a termination, it was for a separation or a quit for reasons that I'm not going to state. But it also was a
Mm-hmm.
chore to go through to try to
Mm-hmm.
fight that because
Yeah.
you may
It's worth it.
say, just like you did earlier, you had to fight it for certain reasons why you were terminated.
Yeah. It's
And I
hard
can
to
tell
have
you, I've
to
been
go
on
through
both ends of
that.
those.
It's hard to have to go through that because you're wanting to focus your time on getting another job, but you also need income. And this is delaying, again, getting that income in. And so it's always a hard situation when you, for any reason, get separated from a job because of
Yeah,
that loss of income. If especially if you don't have that 3 months of emergency funds built up, it can be really detrimental.
yeah. Did we just talk about that? But
Mm-hmm.
but yes, that is so true. Is you're going to get unemployment. It's probably the littlest amount that you're used to because of the fact of
Sure.
unemployment is supposed to help bridge your gap to your next employment. But sometimes you're still fighting for that, and you're not able to focus fully on getting a new job,
Yeah.
applying for jobs, putting your whole heart in it because you're still fighting for that little bit of money that you need to survive.
So many of us are having to live paycheck to paycheck.
Mm, a lot of us. That's absolutely for sure. A lot of people have to live paycheck to paycheck, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and we don't have that opportunity to save that 3 months. I think we talked about that at length last during our last podcast. Go check it out at yourtuval.com if you haven't checked it out. Shameless plug there. But uh, whenever you're being laid off, or I'm sorry, whenever you're being terminated, uh, it's good thing, and I'll get more into kind of like the nitty gritty of it here in a little bit. Is when you're terminated, make sure you're documenting everything because I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you your company is documenting everything, and if they're not, that's not good for them.
Yeah.
If you have somebody as good as an HR person as I am, then you make sure that all the documentation is there and it
Mm-hmm.
suffices for what's necessary.
Yes.
So, you yourself, as an employee, as a team member, now former team member, should be documenting all of that yourself. And this
Right.
is for both of them, whether you're laid off or you're terminated, because you need to have that documentation for yourself.
Yes.
And um, my personal
Nine times out
thought,
of 10, you're not going to get it.
no, you're not, um, because I'm not going to go
It's
into that, but
legality because it's
I'm not.
legality issues.
There you go.
And
Thank you.
and
That's a proper way of saying it.
and
There are legal reasons behind it and liability reasons
the
behind it. There
doing
you go.
that the company by doing that the company can be held liable for certain things if they put the wrong thing on something that they give you.
That is completely true. Very, very true. And so, so that way have your documentation. And again, going back to my opinion, because that counts the most, is that if there is a proper termination that comes about, you should know it's coming for one reason or
Mm-hmm.
another, whether it be performance, whether it be for attendance, whatever happens, you should know that termination is coming as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
It should never be a surprise. Layoffs, completely different story. You probably will never know that you're going to get laid off. Some companies will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, oh, hey, we're going to lay you off, and they have that warn notice. If you don't know what a warn notice is, it's a notice that an employer has to file with your state that lets them know that there are a certain amount of people being laid off. Every state has it, and they're all online. It's a good thing to check every now and then. So just Google
That's
online,
good.
warn notice. So,
Unfortunately, they should be required to put it on the website and tell their employees, but our laws are messed up and that's not the case. So let's change that.
anyway, so I'm going to continue going on. I don't want to get into that.
The big thing that happens when separation, a lot of people run into, and I myself, is your insurance. Um, so what happens with that? And you're paying $250, $350 a month of out of pocket expenses that come out of your check to cover your insurance premium.
Yeah.
And then I get this lovely letter in the mail from this thing called Cobra. And all of a sudden it says, well, if you'd wish to continue your insurance, it's going to be $750 to $800 a month now. And that's
Surprise!
because Cobra does protect your insurance and allows you to gap it until you get another potential job with insurance benefits.
Up
But
to
since
18
your
months.
employer is no longer contributing to your premium, you have to pay the full premium.
Yes, you have to pay the employer contribution as well as your premium. And believe it or not, the employer does pay normally, not always, does pay a significant portion of your premiums. And so, yeah, you may be
They
paying
do.
$200, $300 a month, but your employer is
They
paying
do.
$400, $500 a paycheck, which is like
Yep.
equates to $1,000 a month. So you're paying
Yeah.
both of those now.
It can be really scary. And then
Yep.
most people are definitely not going to be able to afford that. And then your insurance lapses and you no longer have medical coverage.
Yeah.
And once again, reason that we want to avoid this whole situation. But it's hard.
Yeah, it is very difficult, and that's some of the things that definitely is a stigma about it is that loss of coverage as well as any type of hidden cost that comes out with it, and nobody warned you about that. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
if I'm doing a separation conversation with somebody, I'm not letting them know what their full Cobra costs are. One of the
Right.
reasons for that is that
Right.
generally also includes a 5% fee that the Cobra
Yes.
company that's providing Cobra adds on top of that premium. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
that is also your responsibility. Another hidden cost.
But there are ways that you can also help bridge a little bit of a gap, hopefully. And I know you've had experience with this, Greg, of getting severance. And
Yep.
especially that mostly happens when being laid off or separated. Not so much of the terminated part, but and and being able to understand that you don't need to take the first offer that they give you. You can actually negotiate that. A lot of companies will negotiate that, and if you have been, an all-star, but I'll let you speak to that since you've had
No, no,
experience.
no. Here, I'm going to give you the severance agreement. You sign it for me right now before you leave this chair. That's
Yeah,
what you
sure,
do.
exactly.
That's
And
what you do.
and
That's what
it
I'm offering
oh,
you.
is
That's all
there
you get.
something? Yeah, no,
So what do you
absolutely
mean
not.
severance is negotiable?
It
I've
can
never heard of
be.
that before.
Oh, really? Oh, we're gonna go there now. Oh, really?
I don't know. If you're not watching the podcast, you should just see my
Wow.
evil little grin that I have on my face. Um, but no, that's what you know. This is a fair and equitable. agreement that we have given from the company to you to allow
Yes.
you an extra
No.
compensation to leave the company. Here you go. Sign right
Sometimes
here.
it's a fair offer, sometimes it's not.
So yes, I will go back is and and this is just about for anything with a company or anything that you're doing because this is life in general. Everything is negotiable. As my mother used to tell me, what can they do? Say no? What's the worst they can do? Say no? Okay. Yeah. And no. All right. Well, then you're
Right.
still in the same boat that you were before. Sometimes they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can do this or maybe I can do that or whatever. The other part of it I can say is anything in your job or your anything that's supposed to continue on after your job is negotiable. And that
Mm-hmm.
is your pay is negotiable, your severance pay, your benefits are also negotiable. You can have them pay for your COBRA costs for a certain amount of months or weeks or whatever.
Yep.
Again,
Yep.
more than I would say more than likely not. It's not going to happen. But what can they say?
Sure.
Nope.
Right.
And I have tried to negotiate severances that I've had from some of my companies. Has it worked? Yeah. Has it not worked? Yeah. It has not worked.
Sure.
And so it just depends on the company. And it's like, are you gonna accept it or not?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you're going to accept every single time, right, Jesse?
No. Absolutely not.
Yes, I'm shaking my head. Yes, you're gonna
Yeah.
accept it every
And
time.
that's the subliminal messaging that HR likes to try and
There's no subliminal messaging. You're gonna sign it
beam
every
over to
time.
while you're sitting in a room with them by themselves and listen to me. You're gonna do exactly what I say. No, absolutely
No,
not.
no. As somebody who has been through this multiple times, more than I'd like to say, always read through it and look what's going
Unfortunately,
on.
I think it's more a reality than a lot of people. I've been through it multiple times. We know other people have been through it a lot. I mean, unfortunately, I feel like there's been a huge change in that people are treated as they are disposable now in
Yep.
one little thing or one little mess up, and a lot of companies are so afraid of liability issues that could come up and getting sued that they just want to get this person and cut out the crap from their company that they think is the reason that they're not doing well as a company, and they gotta downsize and control. And I mean, it gets crazy sometimes, especially with what we talked about before, the addition of AI. And I think we have another episode coming up this year about talking about that and the workforces that are being cut because they're able to be replaced with some AI generation as well.
Yes, that's very true. AI is being very big right now. Kind of scary. Definitely scary in my area of work. But yes, and many of our listeners, probably more than I would care to say, are going through layoffs. And you're seeing it every day. So and so company is laying off 200 employees. So and so company is laying off 10,000 employees. XYZ company is laying off, 20,000 employees over the next 6 months. And it's crazy because of all these different things. And so the one thing that you also have to realize and look into that is how does that look out? How does that look when you're continuing your job search? I know you had stated earlier today that you were talking about um, going to look at LinkedIn and putting that information on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
how does that go on your job search?
Right.
And I know you had said earlier about and I think we talked about this like kind of in one of our previous episodes is, don't look at that gap in service as a negative. You don't know what happened and you don't know what the
Exactly.
purpose was, right? Yeah. Isn't that what
Exactly.
happened? We said
They
last time?
they could have been on maternity leave, and you now have just judged a protected class of person and passed by them as being a candidate because you didn't take the time to call them and ask them about their gap.
Yeah. And so lots of protected classes on there. But what I can tell you is um, whenever you're looking at the job, when you're out there looking for jobs and you have to do that, don't worry. I don't know if I want to say it that way. What I was going to say is don't worry about what your job was going to say about you because there are
Mm,
protections. There are things
mm.
that they can and cannot say about you. And the only
Best of
information that the job can actually say something about you is your pay, if you're rehireable, and if you were terminated or if you left on your own accord.
But unfortunately, that's almost sometimes is not the case. The bigger companies definitely handle that, I think, well. But
Yeah, I agree with
uh,
that.
one thing that I've had before is either myself, if it's a huge company, or have a friend call in and just see what they say when you do ask.
Yeah, and the thing is that's ground for defamation if they talk negative about you. And so,
Mhm.
as somebody that is brilliant in HR, like myself, you know, uh, definitely not a big head around here, but
Oh my God.
is you have to be careful of what you say and what you respond to. I've had many of verification of employments of was this person terminated for cause? What was the reason this person was terminated for? Are they rehireable? Do they did they have an attendance problem? Did they have any type of disciplinary problems? Those are questions that I can't ask. I can ask
Right.
when you got hired, when you left, how your compensation was, and compensation is generally only allowed if you release that information, and then if
Hmm.
you're hireable or not rehireable,
Right.
and your title. Sorry. So
Hmm.
those are like the main things that you can ask, and then I can give you. If anytime any of those questions come up on top of a verification of employment or what you do, not responsible, not responding. uh, company decided not to respond. Company's not responding. I'm not going to say anything. One, for me, and I don't know if I can speak for most of us as an HR folks, we don't know. We didn't get the whole
Hmm.
lowdown story. We got a brief overview of it. I don't know if you had attendance problems. I don't know. I know you may have had a performance problem because we wouldn't be in the situation in the first place. But other
Exactly.
than that, I don't know. And then let's say I
If you
leave.
actually communicated.
Yeah, if I leave and I go to another company, the new person's not going to know that. They weren't there when you
Hmm.
left. I've worked for lots of different companies that, we HR folks, move around a lot. And so I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened prior to my time. There's sometimes there's good notes, sometimes there's not good notes. Sometimes there's not a system, just like Jesse was saying earlier. And so that's just what happens. And just know on your background checks, that's something that you can be comfortable with and knowing that they can't say that. The other one that I
Exactly.
want to kind of test onto that is like your reference checks. Generally, for the most part, a former employee again should not be completing a reference check. And if you're completing a reference check and they're talking negative about you, should you be using that person as a reference check in the first place? Should you not
Exactly.
be pre-vetting your reference checks?
You definitely need to be.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's asking me to do a reference check for them. Oh no, they were a horrible employee. You don't want to have them. They were
Right.
always late coming in. Is that a reference you want to hear from?
Definitely
And
not.
I don't know. I'm not always the biggest fan of reference checks because of the fact um, of you're only going to get like the bright side of somebody. You
Yes.
are rarely going to get the real news per se
Hmm.
because it's protected.
It's protected.
Defamation.
Exactly. Yep.
And so, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to, go into any legal route saying, oh, yeah, I talked negatively about it. I slandered you. I defaming
I
your
sure
your
hope
character or
not.
nothing. And so
Right.
I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to give you simple fact answers, and that's it.
Yep.
Not going to happen. And for all of our HR folks out there, I would advise you to do the same thing. You don't need to give it. You don't know, and if you know, you don't know.
You don't.
If you understand or catch my drift. But the
Picking
thing
up what you're throwing
is
down.
what we were talking about earlier was if you have this happen to you where you are terminated or you are laid off, be truthful about it. Don't lie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I can tell you, in being in HR for a while, you know people, and you know people
Yep.
that know people, and you know
Yeah.
people that know people that know people.
Talk about how you accepted it and you learned from it, what you learned from it, and and the best thing that I think an interviewer can hear from interviewee
Yep.
is how it's now made you better as a person because you were able to recognize that yes, there was a problem that you were caught up in and you chose that you were terminated if you were terminated for that issue,
Mm-hmm.
but that you've changed and you're no longer that same person.
Yep. And that's the best thing to do. Be honest. And I've been told, and honesty is the best thing. That's the best
Honesty
thing
is
you can do.
key.
And so I agree with that there too. Just be honest about it. Uh,
Yeah.
Now I want to kind of wrap up this episode with a little bit more kind of a checklist of what's going to happen as
About that severance agreement that I'm not going to
about
sign. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
about the severance agreement that you are going to sign. Yes, yes. No, I'm not going to go there, but kind of like a self checklist that you want to go through mentally with what you're going. So kind of like a what to do when
Sure.
this happens, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen to everyone, one time or another, and also, or if you quit. I mean, nobody's going to be in a job for their whole
Sure.
life anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Yes. Exit interviews are
That
huge
too.
too.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kind of recant what I said earlier. Don't sign anything right then and there. You don't
Nothing.
have to. And I
Nothing.
know I might piss off some of my HR people out there, but I find this to be fair. And what I would
Yeah.
advise you,
It's their
I'm
choice.
talking to you like I'm talking to like Jesse or another friend of mine of, you know, what should I do in this situation? Don't sign anything. You don't need to. Is there a disciplinary action that day? One, you should not have a disciplinary action on the same day that you get terminated. Should not happen.
Right.
Say nothing, sign nothing, because you are technically still employed at that time until that phone call is over and they terminate you. Everything, again, just like in law, can be used against you. And so
Mm-hmm.
don't say anything. Don't incriminate yourself. Don't do something that would be stupid. And yes, I'm saying that. Then collect yourself because it's going to be emotional. Try not to be emotional about it, but it's going to
Go
be.
home. Don't jump on the
Go home.
freeway and start driving erratically.
No, don't do that. Go home. Go to your favorite, you know, woosah place and
Mm-hmm. Get
breathe
some serenity. Yep.
and take a moment. Understand that this may not have been your problem, whether it was a layoff or if it was your problem, it was a termination.
Yeah.
How can I help myself and make this better?
But even though we are
Then,
advising you to not sign things, you still need to read it.
yes. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not done yet. Once you get done and you have a clear mind, read everything.
Yeah.
Read. And I know society has
Make
gotten
sure.
into this point of just sign, because
Just
everything has these
scan and
terms and
sign.
conditions. Yeah,
And they're way too
scan and sign.
long, but there's a lot of stuff in there
No,
for very certain reasons.
there is, and a lot of them these days,
Hmm.
being general, have non competes in there. You may have even signed a non compete when you first started your job.
Or something saying that you are no you that you're not allowed to take legal action
Right.
against
You
that
might be
company.
waiving a right.
Your legal right.
Yeah, you might be waiving your right to sue. That
Hmm.
generally comes with a severance agreement.
Hmm.
You might have, and I don't, I always kind of mess up on this word, a non disparagement. I don't know. Hopefully I said that right.
Hmm.
Agreement or
Hmm.
clause that states you can't talk negatively about a company after you left. And that's becoming more things because, people read those reviews on, on not Nextdoor, on Glassdoor.
Glassdoor,
And they read those
LinkedIn,
reviews on Indeed. And so if you
Google.
signed the non disparagement agreement, you can't say anything
You
because
can't.
that can void and you can become liable for those words.
That legal action coming back to you,
Right
and
at you.
that's making it even worse for your
Yep.
separation.
And as somebody that is not in HR, or I'm sorry, as somebody that's not speaking of HR, get it in writing that you were terminated. Most states these days, you have to have some type of letter saying that you were terminated.
And a lot
And
though never do. So that's, I mean, that's for big corporations that are following stuff to a T like that. But I mean, the
yep,
average person working there, you're not gonna get anything. But ask. You know, it's always good to ask and ask for copies. If they don't give you anything, ask for the copies of stuff that
yep.
they wanted you to sign.
And certain states have certain laws. When you ask for copies, you're allowed a complete copy of your entire employee record.
Yep.
The only thing you're not allowed to in your employee record is anything that is completely confidential or um, it has to stay with the company. And that's
Hmm.
it. And other than that, you're allowed to have a copy of your complete employee record. So if you have a performance improvement plan or disciplinary action or whatever, those are things you can ask for copies of. And we have to give them to you. It's a law.
Exactly.
But again, don't sign anything right away. Don't say anything right away because you're going to be emotional, pretty sure. If you need something, put it on paper. Be professional about it.
Hmm.
And just remember anything that is written, recorded, can be admissible in a court of law. And
It
I
sure
can tell you
can.
as an employer, I tell my staff that. I tell my friends that. I tell everyone that. Anything you say that's recorded or written is admissible into a court of law because that's
And
evidence.
And take your ass to the unemployment office website. Get there as soon as you can because
Yes,
they're
go
not
file
going
for
to
that unemployment.
pay. You're not going to get paid until you file, and they don't do any back pay. Most states, at
Yeah,
least.
some of them don't. Some of them do.
So,
It depends on when you actually file. But if you wait to file, and let's say you wait 2 or 3 weeks, they're not going to pay you back for those 2 or 3 weeks.
nope.
I mean, I
No, they
mean,
will
some of them
not.
have like a 1 week holding period, a waiting period, or whatever.
Hmm.
That's why you file right away, so that waiting period can continue or to start right away. But if you wait 2 or 3 weeks and then let me file, nope, you're not going to get that. You lost out.
Yep.
So to wrap up today and kind of to close this up and some takeaways that you can have, is either one of them better? Would you
Absolutely
say,
not.
Jesse? No.
I mean, it can be a blessing in disguise sometimes.
That I will cheers to that with my water. So true. So true can be a very much a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
And
For
I
both
would
the
agree with that.
employee or employee. No, that I agree. I put on, especially managing hotels and working directly for owners. I've put on an owner mentality had, and had the same interests that the owner of the hotel had,
Yep.
and have aligned in that this is just something that needs to happen, and both of us are going to be fine in the end.
Yep. And I have said this to bosses, I've said this to friends, to family. This is one job. There are
Mm-hmm.
millions and millions of jobs out there. You're going to find a new one. It may take a minute, but you're going
You
to find
may
one.
have to do something you don't want to do.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do for a little bit before you get there. I've done it
Mm-hmm.
many
Mm-hmm.
a times. But allow yourself to kind of grieve that because it is a loss
It is.
and it is going to hurt. But
It's a
give yourself that
separation.
moment, but get back into it quickly. Don't
Yes.
dwell on it. And of course, I know that's easier said than done. Um, but like we said earlier, Jesse, don't dwell on it for 6 months. Don't beat yourself up because
Don't get in a
it may
pit.
be in something that you had no control over. It may be a learning. It may be something that you kind of, hmm, what could I have done differently to not had me be fired or terminated? And it's a learning opportunity for yourself.
Exactly. That's the biggest part. That's the biggest takeaway. Learn from it.
Yeah, Jesse, do you have any other closing thoughts other than those? I know I kind of took a lot of it.
No. Yeah, no, the biggest thing, like I talked about before, is just don't sit in it. I know it's hard. You may be in it right now yourself and listening to this episode. I mean, if you haven't filed for unemployment, even if you don't think that you're gonna get it, just go ahead and get it done. You never
Yeah,
know.
again, all I can do is tell you no, and then you can appeal it and
and
fight it,
and
and
even
there's
then
the whole
you can
process.
appeal it. And yeah, it may take time, it may take resources, but um you could get approved for it and have a new job, and then all of a sudden you get some payments from that, and
Yep.
that can be a blessing to someone.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of steal what Jesse said earlier. It might be a blessing in disguise. Might be the best thing for you. You know, it may look horrible and bleak now, but let me tell you, things are gonna get better in the future,
Yep.
and they do. Well, I think
if you
this was
are
fantastic. Oh, go ahead.
if you are if you are going through something that relates to this episode or any of the other episodes that we've talked about, I mean, we're, like I said before, we're really here for you to listen and learn about what's going on, and we have lots of resources to help out and get you pointed in the right direction. So don't ever feel bad about reaching out to us. We love hearing
No.
from people. We love hearing our stories. We love talking to the people that have reached out to us so that we can work together to get on a better track. It helps both of us
And where can
in
they
this.
send that information to?
You can email us at stories at your two val, you are the number two VAL.com, or privately message us on any of the platforms, Facebook, TikTok. You can leave us a comment on one of our videos just saying, hey, can you send me a message? I'd like to chat.
Jesse's
There's
been really
multiple
good
ways.
at seeing those. Yeah. And then,
We'll get
you
back to
know,
you.
yeah, email us. Let us know. We want to hear from you. And we know this is affecting a lot of people out there. If you need some help, we can reach out. We can help out with that, give you some advice. Robbie is going to be great at business advice. Jesse's going to be great at personal advice. I'm going to be good at all advices, of course.
Oh, HR
And
does it all, don't they, huh?
yeah, we do. And so
Mmm.
so our next episode is going to be one of my favorites yet again. I think a lot of these are my favorites, but this is a really big one for me.
Did you come up
Uh,
with this one? Was this one of your ideas?
Something probably so. Uh, is episode 5 is going to talk about work friends or are they just colleagues?
Mm.
And you spend a lot of time with your coworkers. So Can they
becoming
become your family, your chosen family,
your
as we were
chosen
talking about
family.
earlier? Or,
Aha.
you know, are they just there for the time being?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they there for life? You don't know. So join us next week so that way we can discuss that and see how that comes about and what our thoughts are on that. That is one topic I would love to hear somebody else's opinion about because I've had some doozies and some fantastic things in my life go on with this. Um,
Yes.
and I can't wait to explain it because there's some good things, there's some bad things.
We're
But
hoping
follow,
Robbie's back next week. If not, we might
oh,
be
that would be
having a
good if Robbie's
guest
back.
join us. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. But follow us on, go to our website, you're2val.com. You are the number two, VAL.com. And check us out on there. You can see all of our social media pages, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify, all the different ones that we have on there or that are out there. Come by and say hello, drop us a line. We really appreciated it. I thought this was going to be a small or shorter podcast, but it looks like
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same length because
it's
I get
okay.
passionate about things.
We had a really good discussion.
It
Thank you
was.
for listening, everybody.
Yes, thanks for tuning in. We will see you soon or we will talk to you soon. Take care, everyone.
See you next week, everybody.